All right. Thank you for joining me today or watching this video. Most agents get in there watching the video because noon in the middle of the day sometimes is a bad time, but I had to pick a time. I wish I could make the perfect time for everybody. But today, day four of our 15-day How to Be a Top Agent training. And today is all about buyers, and ideas and things and scripts and things to think about, especially for newer agents. This is very, very important today, is about, or just agents getting, back in the business or want to go to the next level. Buyers, again, with my 30 years experience, with 87% of realtors getting out of the business every 5 years, is one of the main reasons is buyers. And they're good, and they could also just ruin your business and ruin your attitude towards this business. So I'm going to give you some things to think about, the upsides and downsides. So that's what I want to start today, is the upsides and downsides of working with buyers, because that's usually what agents start with. That's usually what most agents work with, or have more buyers than sellers. And here's some things to think about. So I'll start with the downsides. Why not start with the negative things to think about with buyers? A lot of buyers are very demanding of your time, no matter what the market is. Like example, the market might be a buyer's market. A buyer's market means that there's more sellers than buyers. There might be a house, 80 houses for sale in a neighborhood. I've seen that, 80 houses for sale in not just a little neighborhood, but maybe in a part of a city, or in the city in general, it's within the same price range, and there's only going to be 20, 30, 40 buyers in the next 3 to 6 months. That means there's a rate of absorption rate, we call it, that how many buyers are in a market at a certain time and how many houses are for sale. So I won't go into that. That's a whole nother video. But when it's a buyer's market, they take up a lot of your time because they want to see every house on the market. They want to see every house before they make a decision. And there's no fear of loss because those houses are sitting there. Now, fast forward to market like today, we're at a seller's market, low inventory. But what do I see? The time switches. There's not as many houses to see. You're not showing them 40, 50 houses, but how many offers are you writing? I think the time, at the time, I think a lot of agents that I was coaching and helping every day, especially the agents that have been in different markets, saw, wow, there's less houses to sell. So less time I have to go show houses. Didn't realize that it's going to take more time to submit 10 different offers on the only 10 properties on the market than show them 50 houses. And they're like, this is taking way more time than it was before. So it doesn't matter what market. So buyers sometimes are very demanding of your time and energy. Again, it's just your energy to handle a buyer takes up a lot of energy. One, also, there's no guarantee of income. You're working at the buyer, you're working for free. I'm going to go over some ideas how to make sure you're not working, well, not that we're not working free, but you're keeping a hold of your hooks in your buyers so you eventually get the sale and that they don't leave you. Sometimes there's a lack of loyalty of buyers, just trying to keep them loyal to you. And that is actually, I just had that happen just before this call. I had one of my agents call, been showing people houses, $400,000 range, showed them a house. And they were so upset with our agent, not because of the work he was doing, but they were getting upset with the market and all the offers that the agent was submitting, but they weren't winning, but they took it out on the agent. So I see buyers changing agents, leaving agents because they're not getting these offers. So I'm going to give you some things to think about and say to people to try to keep them involved with you, connected with you, even though you're giving them bad news when these offers aren't getting accepted. So I'll give you some tips and some things, but I love talking about this almost every day. I'm talking with agents. What can I tell my buyer? This is like the 10th house. I'm worried about them leaving, going to another agent. What can I say? So I'll give you some ideas on that. Buyers, some guys get cold feet. You're working and working and working and working. And then all of a sudden, boom, cold feet. Nah, I don't want to look anymore. That's happening right now. Burnout. I'm sick of writing offers, sick of going over asking. And then sometimes buyers in the reverse market are getting sick of looking at houses and they can't decide, like going to a restaurant with too big of a menu. Like I can't decide what to eat, what can't decide to buy. They get cold feet after working with them. And then the last thing I just jumped to that I have in my notes is you could lose them as a client. You could lose them as a client because he gets frustrated with the process. Now, there's an upside to buyers. There's definitely an upside of working with buyers. And that is the quickest way to make a commission. Buyers are definitely easier to find than sellers. Now, let me jump back. What is a buyer? It's a simple definition of a buyer. A buyer is someone that's going to buy. That's the problem a lot of agents have. We get to people that are not 100% qualified, not 100% motivated. So most agents that get frustrated with working with buyers is because their buyers are not going to be real buyers. So, well, let's say in a short period of time, they think they're going to buy in a week, 2 weeks, a month, but they might be really looking now, buying a year from now, 2 years from now. So we're going to go over some ideas on that. So the buyer is usually the quickest way, the fastest way to start earning some income in real estate. Also, if you have a lot of buyers and you're working with buyers, it's a way to get listings. So in this market, I know I have agents out there getting listings because they're calling on people that might not want to sell right now, but they're just trying to find houses for their buyers and calling people and go, listen, I have a buyer looking in this market. A house just sold down the street from you that sold within a day. They didn't get that sold for $50,000 over asking. Would you be interested in talking to me? Because I have a buyer that wants to see it. I have agents getting for sale by owner type situations because they're making calls. So if you have a buyer, you could create a listing for yourself, either in that sale with that buyer, or at least a listing to get somewhere to sell to someone else. Also, buyers are easy to get referrals from. This is the one of the most important things I express to agents with buyers is this: you have to remember they're a good referral source. Not that you get to the end. Too many agents, I'm going to go over a little bit of that a little bit in a few minutes, but too many agents are waiting till after the sale to ask for referrals. So we're going to go over some ideas and things you could do for that. And less pressure to perform. I have some agents that just like buyers. They just like it because they know the buyer's not paying them. They less pressure. They explain to their buyer they're free. They don't charge them. The commissions come from the seller when they have a sale. So some agents just like buyers because they don't have the pressure of performance. But you have to have that pressure of performance to keep them, depending upon how long it takes. So some ideas, I want to start with things and scripts and things that you could say to buyers to keep them loyal to you. Now, I'm a firm believer in buyer agency forms. What that is a form. If you don't already know it and don't even use it, buyer agency form is basically an agreement between you and the buyer that they will use you to buy the house, or there's consequences to that. So I could go into so many different little scripts, but I'm going to just throw one out of what I usually train our agents to say to buyers is that, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I work by referral only. You were, to explain where they found them or what that, and I handpick the people that I want to invest my time in. I can't help everybody. I have so many people that would like to use me, but you are one of the people I connect with, I want to help with, and I think that we're on the same page and have the same goals. But I'm going to invest my time in you. It's not costing you anything, but the one commitment I want from you, because I'm going to give my 100% commitment to you, is that commitment that if when you find that house of your dreams, and I'm going to do my best to find the best house for you and the house of your dreams, that you agree to use me to buy that house when it's ready. And I have this agreement here. Please read through it, go through it. I'm happy to answer any questions on it. But the bottom line to this is, if you never find that house that you like and you decide not to buy, doesn't cost you anything. It's just your commitment that you're going to stick with me. And when I invest my time, energy, and put you on top of my list to help you, that you're going to be there for me too. That's just an idea. That's just an example. You got to think of things to say that come out of your mouth the easiest and not scripted. But that's the buyers. I think any buyer that is to explain that to them, and the real buyers understand that, and understand, make them feel special, that you're not working with everybody. You can't work with every buyer. There's only one of you. You can only handle one person at a time when you're showing houses. But that's an idea. And again, everybody who's watching this video, live or not live, feel free. We could work on this, especially my Central 21 Home Star agents. But a buyer's agent agreement definitely keeps them loyal and shows them that they're like a VIP. I've had actually agents write on the top of the buyer agent's case. There's no legal rule of what it has to say at the header. So I have had agents write VIP buyer agency form, something like that, to make them feel that they are a priority. And you should make them a priority because they are committed to you. So if you have 5 buyers that want to go see houses tonight, and 1 or 2 of them are VIP buyer agency forms, you're going to put them ahead, and that's something you could sell on the next part. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, sorry, can we make a showing tomorrow? Again, this is the bad market for this. I mean, pushing them to the next day, but in a market where that house isn't moving in one day, go, hey, can we do it tomorrow? I would love to show it today, but I've got to put some people ahead that, are on my VIP list, but I want to get you on my VIP list. We got to get you on my VIP list. So we'll discuss it later tonight, tomorrow, and I want to put you ahead of everybody else. So that's something you could say to get them to sign a buyer agreement when you have to move them or move the appointment. So also, back to the referrals. You're spending so much time with these buyers on the phone, in person, showing houses, inspections, talking about their financing, the whole process from when you start to pre-qualify them to see if they're a real buyer to the end, that there's so many opportunities to ask for referrals. You could come out and say, listen, explain to them how the business works, or how business comes in. Now, listen, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, I think we have a good connection here. I like, working with you. I would love to work with more people just like you. And if you have any friends or family or any referrals, because that's how I get my business. I want to work with people that I love to work with, like you, and refer me to people that have the same mentality, the same thought processes, the same connection. So can you connect me to people like you, or friends, family? Because I'm not the agent that just takes people that just call me on the phone. It's by referral only. Basically, you're saying you're a private club, so to say. You're only accept people that are referred to them. So makes them feel, when they give you a referral, that, wow, I'm able to refer Tony to these people over here, and Tony won't take them unless I refer them. Like, you can't come in unless a member brings you in. Do you get that feel? Do you understand that? And it could be anybody. You're not discriminatory against it. You're not discriminating against anybody, but you're just explaining to them that I want to work with people that you recommend to me, that that'll be good. So only give me the good people that you think are good buyers, that sellers, someone that you think would be a good fit for. And you can do that with every one of your buyers from wherever they are, whatever price range they are. So that gives you some ideas on, and you should be doing this all of the time. Every time you talk to them, say, remember, I'm always here for your referrals. I'm never too busy for your referrals. You could just one little sentence. You don't have to hound them. Give me a name, but remind them, hey, by the way, remember, I'm here for your referrals if you have anybody in mind. Something they say after every time you talk to them, after every text, after every email, after every meeting. How many times you have that? You don't have that opportunity sometimes as much with sellers, but you have that with buyers. I know there's agents out there that have gotten great referrals that ended up being more business than the people that they were initially showing. They gave them better referrals. So those are some things to think about. Now, there's two approaches that agents use to work with buyers. It's either reactionary or strategic. Reactionary, they just, no matter who's calling, this is the number one problem agents have, because they're just worried that they're going to go somewhere else. Any call they have, anybody gives them a name, they call off a sign. Still to this day, I have agents that call me almost every other day, go, Tony, I got this client from Transylvania that found me online, that wants me to buy a house and find a house here in the United States, and they want to buy in Cleveland, and they want me to go there and take some pictures and go there and write up an offer. And the agent, and I have agents, yeah, I've been talking with them or emailing and texting with them for days, and we're going to write an offer now. And they didn't pre-qualify them at all. They're in the middle. Who knows where they're from in the world? They're not here. They didn't see anybody. They didn't pre-qualify them. They spent all this time. So the point to that is I have agents that just as soon as someone wants to go see a house or wants them to work, they start working. They start going out and spending their time, and they don't even know who these people are, where they're coming from, if they're qualified or not. So that's one of the problems. It's reactionary. You're just like, oh, buyer, let's start working with them. Two, they'll allow the buyer to dictate the process. That's reactionary. Like, I want to go see this house today. Well, that's great. Here's some ideas to think about when you have people that you don't want to explain. You want to explain how you work. So, Mr. Buyer, I want to help you. I would love to help you as soon as possible, and we'll get you into some of these houses. But especially in this market, we need to get you pre-approved. We got to get, I have a questionnaire for you. A lot of agents, successful top agents, use a buyer questionnaire. Make them physically fill out a questionnaire. And we have some of them on 21 Online, buyer questionnaires of what they're looking for. So it's in writing. I'm looking for a 3 to 4 bedroom. I'm looking for with a basement. It's not verbal. It's written down. So if you could reference it to what they are or what they want. So if all of a sudden, what cities, what areas, and all of a sudden when they go off track, you have that to go back. Oh, why are we going 3 cities over? You said in your interview or in your questionnaire, you're only looking in these areas. So again, I could go on for hours on what you talked about. I just want to give you some ideas though. And also pre-qualified, because you want to give them the fear of loss. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I could show you a house tomorrow. You might love it. It might be multiple offers. If you don't have a pre-approval, we're dead in the water. You're not getting anywhere with that. We need to get you pre-approved today. Let me connect you with the lender. Do you know a lender? I'll give you a couple names of people. We'll get you pre-approved ASAP before we walk out the door. If you don't have a buyer that is ready, willing, and able, they have their finances in order, it's why are you taking them in your car? Why are you driving them and meeting them at a house if they're not ready to write an offer? Why you do that? Why agents do that? Because they're fear they're going to lose them and they're going to call another agent. So occasionally, I will say this. I tell agents, fine, you could give them one free one occasionally. If it's not out of your way, you're not driving an hour and a half, you feel safe, Now, that's a whole nother video of how to stay safe with buyers. Please, if you have any concerns or thoughts, I have lots of ideas, lots of things you can do to make sure you're safe. That's a whole nother video and just how to stay safe. But sometimes they have agents, one for free. If you have the time and you don't have 50 buyers that you're working on and you have to give up an opportunity with someone else that's qualified. Another thing, reactionary, indiscriminately shows houses, just have no clue what these people are looking for. They're just, anything they say, I want to see, you're showing them. You got to have that questionnaire. You got to know what they're looking for, because they'll use you and abuse you. And well, maybe I might like this city, and you're totally in the other side of town. Maybe I like to see that. So they're just showing out houses to anybody, anywhere, wherever they tell them. And then you trade, basically this type of doing business, you're just hoping for a commission check. That's all you're doing. You're doing this, please. You're just like praying. Oh, I hope this buyer amounts to something. I'm running around, I'm doing this, I just want it. And why do most agents that end up here do this? Because they have nothing else. They have no other options. Our goal for you is to get you to the point where you have options. You have so many buyers, you don't have to take this guy or girl that just called off the internet and saw something and got a hold of something, just found you, who knows where they're coming from. You don't feel obligated, like I have to jump on this lead and get them into the house ASAP, no matter where they tell me to go. So the whole goal is to have options and have levels of clientele that's VIP, A, B, C, D. Like, these are my buyers I know are buying ASAP. Now, there's a strategic approach in working with buyers, and that's more of, like I was saying, in reverse of this, is that you're qualifying. You are seeing what their needs and wants are. You're on the same page with them as when their timeline is and when their timeline should be. And you're going to have a process of elimination of saying, hey, like you have that, like I mentioned, you're going to have that. Why are we looking in this city? You weren't really looking in this city. Why are you looking at ranches when you said you needed a colonial? Why are we looking? Because it's just on the market, because that's the only thing available. And maybe you have to have another conversation with them, because every agent has a story of showing houses to people that are not even close to thinking about. The best part about today's real estate industry or technology, 30 years ago, we had a book. We had an MLS book that came out once a week and had a black and white photo of the front. So our buyers couldn't see the inside of the house. There was no Google Maps. There was no Google Street. Today, there's so much. We would spend hours and hours sending them information or meeting with the buyers, because we couldn't email them stuff on what the school system's like, what the community is like. There weren't websites to say, I'm going to move to Solon. What's Solon all about? What does Solon have to offer? Now we have so many things that agents could give, or pretty much buyers know too, is that they could research the city, the school system, the crime rate, the average income. They could research anything. Today's day and age, there should be less showings than ever before. Google Streets. I can't tell you how many times in my career that I drove up to a house. As soon as we walked up to drove near the house, like, I don't even want to go in. I don't even want to go in. I don't like the neighbor. Look at the neighbor's house. Look at it's not, we didn't think it was on a main street. But it's the first house. So it's kind of the main street, or it backs up to trash behind. I've had that. I was like, oh my God, look behind the house. Right behind the backyard is a bunch of trash bins for the shopping center that's back there, and it smells like trash. So there's so many things that people could research and go see. So you could limit your time on that. And then you just basically, when you're strategic about it, you're maximizing your time. You're maximizing it. You're working with the right people at the right time. You're maximizing when you're with them from start to finish of their. And the best thing about today, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, the best part, I mean, I really think today's day and age is a lot better. Today is the best time to get into real estate, the best time for agents to maximize their time and minimize their exposure of how much they work with people, too much, because today, most people meet people at houses. Today, the buyers and sellers are so busy with life compared to than we were 30 years ago, because so they want to leave. I can't tell you how many times back when I started, I'd meet someone at the office like half hour, an hour before we even go show houses, then go show houses, then bring them back to the office. They had nothing else to do because life 30 years ago, maybe the kids, didn't have as many sports, or there wasn't as many shows to watch. If they weren't watching a 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock show, they had their VCR recording it, who knows, but they just would stay longer and talk because life was slower 30 years ago than it is today. So I remember from 6 p.m. till 10, 11 p.m., I'm spending 5 hours plus with showing like 4 or 5 houses. Today, it's a lot faster. So use the technology, use the way today's people's busy lives are to be able to do more with your time, if that makes sense. So there's 3 elements that you could think about to be more strategic. One is set the tone of how you want your relationship to go, how you work, how you're going to communicate, how you want your buyers to react to you, like how fast do they respond, how quickly can they see a house, they want you to go to the house, if a new house pops on today, do they both, if it's a couple or partners or single person, you got to communicate how this communication, how this is going to go. Fully engage each buyer, because so many times in my past, you have husband and wife or partners, or or if it's single family. What I mean by all decision makers. So many times the horror stories of people showing house to first time home buyers, and all of a sudden dad, mom, Uncle Joe come to the house, and we're about to write an offer and run it under the bus, and then you find out after months of helping a first-time home buyer that you got in there's other decision makers, and that all the houses you were showing them, they just told them right in front of you, you shouldn't buy a ranch slab, you need a basement for storage, or you need this or that. And they just, okay. And you didn't realize that you've been spending months, and then all of a sudden they switch gears on you, these first-time home buyers, because there was other decision maker. There's other people helping them make their decision. So that's part of the questionnaire of asking, is there anybody else helping you make this decision? Are you have any friends, relatives? Are you watching any TikToks or videos or YouTube? Where are you getting your information outside of me? Is there going to be anybody else looking at the houses with you? There's many different things. So I hate hearing those stories that all of a sudden things totally change on you. So that's one of the things you got to do. Be fully engage the buyers, make sure you know who are all the decision makers technically in their lives. And you are the professional. That's why I say don't have the buyer dictate. So many buyers, especially their first-time home buyers, they've never done it before, but they might be talking to other people that have done it before. So you got to kind of weed or pull that out of them. Who else is on the list of people you're talking to every night when you go see houses? Who are you calling? Depending upon your relationship with your buyers, you could say, hey, after I show you houses you like or not like, who are you talking to? Your mom, your dad, your friends? Who you talk? Oh, I talked to my aunt. She used to be an agent in Florida 35 years ago. That's good information. So you kind of paint a picture, because everybody, when they're looking for a house, want to talk to other people. and they're getting advice from somewhere else. You just got to make sure who's the competition of who's saying who's the expert. So you got to make sure you explain you're the expert, you know what you're doing, you're doing the research, you're telling them answering all of their questions, and always keep in mind there might be other ways they're getting this, asking someone else the same questions on what they might be hearing. Also, with buyers, you've got to make sure you communicate with how you're going to communicate with them. What I mean by that is how often are you going to talk to them? Because a lot of us, agents out there, are using technology to talk to our buyers in between showings. So what happens is sometimes is that the auto search and the emails, you're using that as a communication, and just they're getting it. I feel that if you have a good qualified buyer that you know that's going to buy, you got to communicate daily with them. And it could be just 1 minute, is that at the end of the day, if there's definitely if something pops up that they think that they're going to be interested, you got to get a hold of them right away. Don't let the emails let them know, and they call you, hey, I saw something. You got to let them know, hey, I sent this to you. I tell agents all the time, please don't use the word I have this system that automatically sends you stuff that pop on the market, and it's automated. Who wants to hear it? Then what are you doing? I say, agents, I'm going to send you, I'm always on the ball. I'm always watching. I'm always seeing. I have systems in place, technology and tools that to make sure that I don't miss anything. I'm always watching. I'm always looking. I'm going to be emailing you things as soon as something comes on the market. You don't explain why or how, and then I'm going to call you. So as soon as you see something on the market, that you should be calling and texting before they call you. Say, hey, this is on the market. This is there. Do you want to go see it? But now if nothing hit the market, or something hit, new houses came on the market, but not in their criteria, let them know at the end of the day. You could call them, you could text them, say, hey, Jane, I just wanted to let you know, I looked at all the houses today as they came on the market. None of them meet your criteria. Just want to keep you updated that I'm up watching, and hopefully, do you need anything? And one of the things that happens sometimes, if you call or text, if they start saying, no, you don't have to call me every day. You don't have to text me every day, of good, bad, there's not something, there's nothing, then maybe they're not really 100% committed to buying now. So you can have that conversation with them. So if they say, example, after about 2 weeks and you're every day texting or calling, I prefer call, say, hey, call me when you get a chance. Just want to update you on the market. And they go, well, no, we really don't have to go over this. Well, I want to make sure you want to buy as soon as you find something. So every day I'm working for you, not letting my automated system work for you. Every day I'm looking for you, seeing what's on the market, seeing if it meets your criteria. And if you're not in, if you find something today or don't know something's new or not, but don't you think you want to know what's happening in the market daily if you want to buy now? And maybe they might bring out, you could make that flow a little bit better. I'm just speaking off the top of my head, but you could make it seem like, are you really that interested? Do you need to be active? Do you need to find something now? Because anybody that needs a house now, like, hey, I need to buy a house by June because I want to be there by school in August. If we write an offer now, it might not transfer till July, and we want to be in by August and in the schools. If they say that, if they're not talking to you every day now, maybe that's not really their 100% priority. That's maybe I kind of want that, but nah, it's not really needed. So you kind of qualify your buyers as the process going by contacting them every day. So one other thing you can do, and I suggest to, is the best way that you feel comfortable to explain our industry and how we get paid. that, again, every buyer is different, but you have to explain how we get paid. Don't have to go down to the dollar amount, but you got to explain, because sometimes people don't understand. They think that we're get paid by my company pays me, or my company pays my gas or my expenses. And it's just commission is a bonus. Honestly, I know a lot of buyers out there don't realize exactly how we get paid. So they don't realize that you are investing, unless you go through that with a buyer agreement and explain how that works. They might not understand. And then they don't understand, like they're not that loyal to you because they think you're making money, something like getting a commission. The commission is just a bonus. Not that commission is everything. There's zero. You're investing your time and saying it in a way that when you're with them, they're taking you away from other people. You're making them a priority of other people. So if they're not dedicated to buying, let you know. And you got to figure out the best way to say that to them. Let's see here. Let me keep going. Just got probably 10, 15 more minutes. Just got a couple more things. So, back to the making the decision on the final house that they want to buy. This is basically the final thing. I went over my notes, nothing new to report, got that. So basically, sometimes, and lastly, I'll explain that you have to really sometimes ask your buyer, this house meets your criteria. This is everything you said. Are you ready to write an offer today on this? So after every showing, you should have a questionnaire of this. So if you, to Century 21 Home Star agents on 21 Online, in our Toolkit CMA section, which is one of the many different listing presentations we have, in the toolkitcma.com, but we have a connection. It's a separate company, toolkitcma.com, but it's free for our agents and connected with our 21 Online. But there's listing presentations in there, but there's buyer presentations in there. They're awesome. So the buyer presentations are a reverse of a listing presentation, kind of a reverse. And what it is you could go in there and there's a whole marketing pieces of why they should use you as a buyer. That's one side. But like the CMA portion of it, you could put in the MLS numbers of the ones that you're going to be seeing, and they pull the information of the properties, the picture, the description that's on the MLS, and put it into a nice report, a nice layout. And then you could give them this buyer presentation and all the houses you can see. And there's maps you could print to show where each house is at. There's printouts, the way you could have a single printout per page for each listing, and has lots of lines in there that they could write notes. And in the past, years and years ago, this company's been around for a long time, Toolkit CMA. And what I used to do is print out these buyer reports, put it in a binder, and on every single page is your picture, your information on that. And every time we go see a few houses, they get a new packet, a new binder. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be just something, a 3-hole punch that's from Office Max or Staples, but looks nice, kind of like a report, like a book report type thing. But every time they take it, they don't want to throw it out because they might want to see it. But why every time you want to have that buyer presentation in there too about what you do? And it could be behind in the pages about the listings are first. But the reason they go home, they have it in their car, they go home, they throw it on the kitchen counter, they throw it on the coffee table, they put it, in their car, or leave it in their car, and then maybe someday they, if they're still looking, they'll just throw it in a drawer because they're still looking. So what that does for you, that buyer presentation does for you, is that now when people are coming in the house, So many agents don't give them, maybe an MLS printout, or nothing, They don't give them anything when they're going. Wait, what's worse than nothing? Okay. It's worse than nothing, giving them nothing. It's worse, letting them, your buyer, take the flyer from the listing and has the listing agent's name and information on it. No, you should have your own flyers. Don't let them take that form, because that form, I've actually had agents, all right, off the record, hide those and then put them back out because they don't want their buyer to have that. Okay, I'm switching gears. Listing agents, if you are today's day and age still not putting listing flyers with your picture and your information all over it, you're missing out on opportunity of new buyers, because that buyer's agents showing your listings, their buyers might get fed up with their agent and going, I want to talk to that agent because he or she's a listing agent in the area I want to be in. So I have agents say, like, well, people could see it online, so why do I have to make flyers? Oh my God, it's a big, huge business card for you. I would put in there, put a sign, take as many as you like. So that's a whole nother thing about listings. We're going to go over that tomorrow. But so buyers presentations, why they're so important. Buyers hold on to them. They throw them. They're at home. They keep you front and center. It's another way of referrals. Imagine you have this beautiful buyer presentation. Every time you go show them, they go home, throw it on the counter. They have a party, some family friend or relative comes over, goes, what's this? Oh, we saw some houses. Oh, I'm looking for a house too. My agent doesn't do that for me. Oh, my agent's great. Look at my notes on there. He or she has one too, and she's writing notes. And they look at it, has all the pictures of the houses, the information. It has all of the information about the city and the school systems, and has a map of where all the houses we saw. It has all the information there. I don't have to go online, because some people just like to see everything in order. They don't want to click, 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 click. Even if it's someone that doesn't like paper, give it to them. Just give it to them. How much time or effort? So many things. And I think this is one of the things that very few agents do. So it sets you apart from your competition of just having a buyer presentation of the showings of the things, the houses you're showing them. So to finalize that, when you have the buyer presentation, you should be writing notes too. You should be making notes so you could go back. And again, in this market, it's a little crazier because there's less inventory, but someday, I promise you, there's going to be a market where you can't show them every house. There's going to be no fear of loss. These houses are sitting on the market 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and they're great houses. There's just not enough buyers out there. And I'm going to show them 20, 30, 40 houses. And I hope you don't that many, but sometimes it happens. And then they want to see them all, and then they want to go back and go over, well, and they can't remember what had what. So you'll have lots of notes. They write their own notes. Give them a pen that has your name and information on it. Every time, give them a new pen. So when they go home, by the time they're done seeing houses with you and buy a house, they got 10 of your pens with your name and information. It's just subliminal marketing in their junk drawer in their kitchen for the rest when they live there. So this is just an idea of this buyer presentation, marketing ideas, writing notes. So you could go back to them. They see you're writing notes, just kind of like when you're in an interview, you go to your doctor, you want your doctor to take notes of everything you're saying. You want to have him or her try to remember everything you're saying. You like to see them type on their laptop or whatever they're doing, because they're writing notes of everything you say about what's happening with you. Do the same thing. Every time they're talking, write yourself notes, have your thing, or have it on your iPad or phone. Show them that you're listening all the time to all the little things that they're saying, so you could customize to where they're looking, what they want, and if anything comes on the market like that. So hopefully that makes sense. But It's about 45 minutes now, so I'm going to let you go here today. But buyer presentations, if you need help with that, call me, text me, email me. We'll set some time aside online, 21 online, look for it. If not, call our office. Debbie will be happy to help you with that too. And there's great videos on Toolkit CMA that'll show you if you like to do it yourself and learn yourself. There's some to-do videos, and they have, it used to be, I haven't looked in a few months or more, weekly or monthly webinars on how to maximize their whole system, including the buyer agreements or buyer presentation. So that's it for today. Give you some ideas, but remember, the main point of these classes is to get your brain thinking, give you some ideas in less than an hour. I've spent hours and hours and hours discussing, brainstorming different things on different buyers and situations. So this just gives you a once over of some of the things there, but call me, text me, email me, and I'll set some time aside and we'll go into more detail and answer any questions you have or thoughts. And every buyer is different. So how to handle people, suggestions on how to get them off the fence, suggestions on how to make sure they're loyal to you. I'm happy to do that. Everyone's a little bit different. So I like to analyze people and try to figure out where they're coming from and how best that you could approach them. So I love doing that. Feel free to call and I'll be happy to set some time to go over that with you. So that's it for today on a Thursday. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow on Friday. Bye-bye.